I want to talk a little bit about prayer today, which is not something I often discuss. And the thing that inspired it was reading this book, The Energy of Prayer, How to Deepen Your Spiritual Practice by Thich Nhat Hanh. And I was curious and picked the book up because I really never associated Buddhism with prayer in that sense. So I was curious. And there are some great pointers in here. And he says, how do we pray? We pray with our mouth and our thoughts. But that is not enough. We have to pray with our body, with speech and mind, and with our daily life. With mindfulness, our body, speech, and mind can become one. In the state of oneness of body, speech, and mind, we can produce the energy of faith and love necessary to change a difficult situation. And so this really changes just the definition of prayer, of just being a simple request to some perhaps imaginary being somewhere at some point, or even a real being somewhere at some point. It makes the prayer about unifying your life in the direction that you're praying for, in the direction that you're longing for, that you're hoping for. And so to bring that mindfulness together and into the equation. He goes on here to say, in prayer, the electric current is love. So it's love that activates your prayer. So if you don't really care, you're not deeply invested with a love toward your subject or object of prayer, then that current isn't flowing. He says, in prayer, the electric current is love. It's mindfulness and right concentration. Mindfulness is the real presence of our body and mind, being right here, no distraction. Our body and our mind are directed toward a single point, this present moment, the here and the now, because this is where all change happens. The entire past comes and culminates in this moment, and this moment from this moment. The entire future and all of its potentialities and possibilities is projected. And so prayer meets the ground here in your being, in this moment. So our body and our mind are directed toward one point, the present moment. If that is lacking, we are not able to pray, no matter what our faith. If you are not present, who is praying? And so it's just this wonderful ideal, that focus, and it kind of demands that your prayer become your whole life, become your whole mindfulness, your whole presence at the moment. And what does that mean? That means your prayer is the sum total of all of your actions. You know, it's if you're praying for one thing and you're doing something that's leading you in another direction, what kind of prayer is that? You know, if you're praying for someone to get better, but you're not doing, your life and action aren't following by being in touch with that person, by reaching out to that person, by providing for that person, by encouraging that person, that all of these things bring us together. So prayer is a focusing of our own mind and our own actions toward what we're praying for. Activated, motivated, purified by a love for that subject, a love that spreads outward from us in an equanimous sort of way. As a side note, one of the things that really touched me in his talk about prayer was this oneness of all things. And he made this point that's so obvious, but I had never really thought about it before. How we are the body of our grandparents. When our parents got together and produced us as a child, it was from those original two cells. And those two cells connected, became one cell, and that divided and divided and divided. So within us is a microcosm of our parents' bodies. We are composed of our parents' bodies directly. And our parents' bodies were composed of their parents' bodies directly. And so on and so on and so on. Which is why ancestry is an important point in so many cultures, because we are literally physical manifestations of all of our ancestors, going all the way back to whatever perhaps that one is, the original couple, whether it was an Adam and Eve situation or whether it was something quite different, who can say? But this idea that we are in fact, not just philosophically, but in a material way also, one with everything, with everyone. And to keep the mind focused on that generates that love, opens that love, helps us attain that equanimity of love for everyone, that connection with everyone. So prayer does help in many, 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 many ways. Whether or not it's that magical, mystical sort of way that may give you some struggle in your mind, it doesn't matter. If you don't want to think about it in those terms, think about it in a way of deciding and verbalizing what's important to you, what means something to you, and then bringing your mind, your focus, your thoughts, your actions, your personhood into the present moment to focus on that thing and release it with a great sense of love, traveling that energy of love way out and beyond. If you are a loving and caring person, you can infect an entire room just with your presence, just by being there. That's the power of prayer. He tells us that love is the activator. Love is the power. Love is the raw current, the electrical current of your prayers.